me about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Slay your goals, live out your dream. Right now. Inspirational perspective.
Let me start here. When I was a teenager, I used to obsess about what I was going to do. Like, how am I going to, when I grow up, like, how do you create some level of success, some level of financial stability, freedom, excess, you name it. The big thing for me is I just didn't want to be broke. When I remember I was like 17, 18. I left home at 17, by the way. And so I knew what it was to be broke. Like for real, for the first time. Often if, 16-year-olds in their parents' house and like, I'm broke. It's like, no, you're not. You're surrounded by the wealth of your parents. You got everything you need. There's something about moving out and being on your own that changes you. It shifts you and how you show up, what you do and how you think about the world. And so now I'm 17 years old. I'm out of my parents' house and I was working at a car wash, wiping down cars every day. And I was one of the youngest guys, working at this car wash, wiping these cars down. And I had to work at a car wash because I got fired from my job. I got fired from my job. I was working at Sears at the time in the painting section of the hardware, the hardware part of the store. I was in the basement of the Sears. Anybody who remembers North Avenue in Harlem. Some of y'all remember that Sears. It's not there anymore because Sears is not a business anymore. We're going to talk about that, too, when we talk about vision. The reason Sears is not a business anymore is because they didn't have a vision for the 21st century. They had a vision for the 20th century. If you remember, Sears is the company that is responsible for the catalogs that will come to the house with everything in it. I don't know, Ade, you might be too young, but when we were young, there was no internet. There was no way, you didn't shop on the internet because there was no internet. The only way you could shop and fantasize and create a vision about what you wanted for Christmas was you had to flip through the pages of the catalog. And I remember my mom, she would paperclip parts of the catalog that we couldn't look at because it had everything in there. The catalog had everything that a family needed in the catalog. And so she would paperclip. She's like, y'all can go to the back where the toys at. Don't be flipping through the front in my section. But I worked at Sears. I got fired from Sears. And at that point, it was difficult for me to get a job. Like, if you don't know my history, at this point, I got fired from, like, different organizations. I got fired from Jules. I got fired from Sears. I got let go from Ventures. I don't know if you guys remember Ventures. I'm dating myself. I talk like this. People look at me and they say, how old is this guy? And I got fired from all these roles. So now I find myself wiping down cars. And I'm like, what am I going to do with my life? And when you're doing something like that and you're surrounded by older men, there were men of all different ages who were doing this. A lot of times they'll school you. They'll say, hey, man, you seem smart, bro. You don't want to do this. And I still couldn't really get a picture for what it is I was supposed to do. Like, how am I, what is it that I'm supposed to do? I went to college for engineering because we had a family member that was an engineer, and they seemed to be successful and make money. And so I said, well, at a minimum, I want to make money. And so let me do that. So I went to school for engineering. But I didn't have a vision. And because I didn't have a vision, everything that I did that seemed to, be related to my future would always fall apart some way. I had no discipline because I couldn't see a picture that informed me of, what it was that I was going to be doing with my life. And so, didn't have a vision. Fast forward to the age of 21, I get kicked out of college. And I'm back where I never wanted to be again, in my parents' house. Right back where I didn't want to be, in my parents' house, in my mother's basement, in a little room that felt like the size of a shoebox, broke, no money, and asking myself the same questions that I've been asking for almost the past 5 to 10 years. What am I supposed to do? What am I going to do? But the difference is now I feel defeated because there are so many opportunities that I had over that last 10 years. I started working at the age of 15, by the way. There were so many different opportunities that I had that I never fully took advantage of. And that's how I felt. Like I didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And so everything felt hopeless until I had the opportunity to work with a mentor that taught me the power of purpose, the power of vision, and what we've been talking about, the power of mindset, and how that can turn your life around. Now, you might not be 22. You could be 32. You could be 42, 52, 62, even 72. And you could have many of the same emotions that I just shared, like feeling lost, bewildered. What am I going to do? And I want to share with you all what I was taught by my mentor when it comes to vision. And this is a compilation of not just what my mentor taught me, but also the books I've read on vision, the many things that I've heard about vision, etc. After I distinguished my purpose and I was clear, that was the first time where I began to have a vision, like a real, true, clear vision for my life. Like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to create. And that's when, for the first time in my life, I felt clear. For the first time in my life, I felt clear, and I felt connected to something that gave me a different level of discipline. Not the discipline I have today, but a different level of discipline. Like for the first time, I noticed things like, oh, I'm a procrastinator. I began to notice things about myself that I hadn't noticed before. And I decided that I needed to do something about these things. So my life's vision is what led me to the path that I'm on today. My life vision is what helped me select certain roles as an employee, back when I was an employee. My life's vision is what had me do the many extracurricular things, the side hustles, etc., that I did while I was working. My life vision is why I started my blog back in 2010, 2011. It's a long time ago. Called Inspirational Perspective. I was just having this conversation with Ade, but my life vision is why I invested in these businesses. And I decided that this is what I was supposed to be doing with my life. Okay. Life vision. Life vision. Nothing provides discipline in your life like vision. And one of the reasons so many people have a perception or belief that they are undisciplined is because they do not have a vision. You don't have a vision. And so as a result, when we don't have a vision, then it becomes a lot of the self-imposed standards that we should set become much more difficult to set, because self-imposed standards only work when they are for the sake of a clear vision that is in pursuit of a higher goal. Like, it's got to be clear. So I know why I'm denying something that might create pleasure in this moment. And it's for something that I see in my future that will create more pleasure than this moment can give me. Let me say that again. This is very important. The reason vision provides us discipline is because the vision, what I see for my future, allows me to put self-imposed standards in place that allow me to deny a pleasure right now, here in the moment, because my mind is fixed on a vision for the future, and I have to say no right now for sake of a higher goal that provides me more pleasure than the pleasure I can experience right now. And that is why vision is a key to discipline. Vision is a key to discipline. The only place you can get your vision is in. The only place you get your vision is inside of you. You were born with your vision inside of you. Let me say that again. You were born with your vision inside of you. And so the best time to do your vision work is when everybody's going in. What is everybody doing? At least in Chicago, right? Like, everything's moving inside. We had a gathering at the house last night, and everybody was inside. And we had gatherings over the summer, and guess where everybody was? Everybody was outside, right? And they were outside because everything was alive and it was warm. But we go inside when it gets cold and everything outside is dead. It's a phenomenal time for us to begin to go inside, following the vibration of the earth. This is real. It seems real simple to me. I had somebody write me. They say, where can I find what you're talking about in terms of frequencies and vibrations in the Bible? And I told them, I said, man, it's all over the place. In fact, if you read the Old Testament, there's Deuteronomy is the book of law, and the Creator instructs that we're not supposed to wear two different fabrics. There's a whole level of instruction around what fabrics not to wear. And then there's instruction on when you do wear wool or when you do wear cotton, don't blend it. There's actually instruction on this. Now, after years of not understanding why, you're like, why can't I wear wool and cotton together? Why you can't blend it? After years of wondering why, I came across research around the vibrations of cotton. Cotton vibrates at, like, if you measure it, it's 100. It vibrates at 100. It's a positive vibration. Silk that everybody thinks they want to wear has a negative vibration. Interesting, right? Polyester, negative vibration. And cotton, when worn by itself, actually gives the body energy. based on the vibrations. When you wear cotton and wool, the vibration drops to 0, which means it's not taking from you, but you're not getting anything. And what's interesting is the Bible says only wear one fabric. And this is before they had machines that can measure vibrations. Interesting. People be like, why you read that book? Hey, it's all a whole bunch of stories. I'm like, true. There's a bunch of stories. Then there's these other things where you kind of like, how they know that? Right? If somebody made this up, how'd they know that? They say, so when they say, hey, this is the word of God, I'd be like, I'm inclined to believe that. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But y'all get my point. And, for those of you who know me, know I got my beliefs and they're going to come out sometime. All right. So where I was going is frequency and vibrations. And the best time to set a vision is when the earth is vibrating in a way that has everybody go inward. And so this is why we're discussing vision right now. Vision. The 3 components of the mind. This is really important. 6 components. In threes, though. I'm going to do it 3 and 3. All right? So you have the major components of the conscious, which is the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. And the conscious mind is what provides you immediate awareness. Yeah. And it's how you perceive the world. The conscious mind. The subconscious mind is subconscious mind is where your automatic processes and habits come from. Automatic processes and habits come from the subconscious mind. It's also where you get your learned emotional behavior, and the subconscious mind influences aspects of the decision-making process. Let me tell you all something. You are not your conscious mind. You are your subconscious mind, which is why it is so important that you watch what you eat, what you listen to, and what you watch. Because your inputs dictate how your subconscious mind works. Your inputs dictate how your subconscious mind works. So, another way to think about this is that your subconscious mind basically provides a rider for everything you are, everything you do, and who you are becoming. And so it's difficult for me to talk about vision without talking about the components of the mind and mindset, because if I'm not aware of my mindset, it's going to be very difficult for me to hold any type of vision. Very difficult for me to hold any type of vision. Now, so the subconscious mind. This is why I always talk about, I don't watch commercials. I don't like, because those things are going into the subconscious mind. So, often people are like, Linnell, you're so disciplined. It's like, well, there's 2 components to discipline. The first component is vision. And then the second component is control of the subconscious mind. I don't have desires. Like, I don't have some of these desires because they never hit the subconscious mind. Like, I guard my subconscious mind. And then the third part is the unconscious mind, which includes your thoughts, memories, and desires, and anything that is not currently in your conscious awareness. Think about the thoughts, memories, and desires. Thoughts, memories, and desires lay in the unconscious mind. Some people are like, I don't even know why I want that. Because it's in the unconscious mind. All right. Then if we go to the second part of these major components of the mind. I said there's 6 components. We just covered the first 3. Here are the second 3. The second 3 are the cognitive function, what you have learned, and then the cognitive function is also what you will learn. What you will learn, and the cognitive function interconnects the various regions of the brain. So this cognitive function is also how we rewire the brain. You have the affective function, which is relating to your moods and how you feel and attitude. Another way to think about this is the emotional part of the brain. It controls all the emotional aspects of the brain, the affective function. And this part influences your preferences and your personality. And then you have the conative function. And this impacts your will and wants. You guys see why I had to bring this up in terms of if vision impacts my will and wants, and the conative function of my mind impacts my will and wants, then in many ways your vision sits in the conative function of your mind, and the conative function is also responsible for how you take action. You see the correlation? So vision leads you to action. Vision leads you to action. Somebody's going to rewatch that and they're going to be like, oh, wow. Like it's going to click. Oh, it's going to click for them. One of the reasons many people aren't in action is because they don't have a vision. And vision sits in the conative function of the mind. You have your cognitive. Vision is not cognitive, right? That's what you've learned. That's what you will learn, right? But it is how you wire yourself. And then you have the affective part, which is how you feel. How I feel is very real. I always tell folks that. How you feel is very real. And that's why you got to get to a point where it don't matter how you feel. You do what you must. And how you get to a point where you do what you must is in the conative function of the mind, because it impacts what you will and won't do. What you will and won't do. Self-discipline is a simple context of leadership. Why do I say that? Because you cannot be a leader unless you have self-imposed discipline. People won't follow you. If I can't, at a minimum, as the leader, do what I say, right? Then people won't follow you. Why am I following this guy? He doesn't even do what he says, right? And so self-discipline in its first aspect requires that I see myself as a leader. And every leader requires a vision. So every individual on the planet should be thinking of themselves in some component as leader. As a leader. And when I think of myself as a leader, then automatically I begin to, in some way, impose some level of self-discipline on myself. And my ability to hold that level of discipline has everything to do with the clarity of my vision. Vision causes me to maintain some level of restraint. I just got paid off a contract with my company, and the money hit my account. And just because the money is in the account doesn't mean I'm going to go spend it. I'm going to exercise some level of restraint because I have a vision for that money. This is real simple. At least it's simple to me. I have a vision for that money. And so there's not even an urge. Like when it comes to how I think about that money, there's restraint. There's restraint. Vision causes us to maintain restraint. Some time ago, I talked about the proverb, where there's no vision, the people perish. I want you to think about this in a different way. I heard Dr. Miles Monroe refer to it this way, and I really liked it. He said another way to think about this is where there's no vision, people throw off restraint. And what kills them is the fact that there's no restraint. There's no restraint in their diet. Oh, that looks good. I'll have some of that, right? Well, we know poor diet will kill you. My people perish for lack of vision. My people perish for lack of restraint. When there's no vision for your marriage, for your relationship, it's like, woo, she look good. What's your name? Right? There's no restraint. There's no restraint. And then you're 60, 70 years old by yourself. Nobody to take care of you. And you perish. There's data that says married men live longer. Right? I could keep going. Same thing for women. There's data that says women that get involved in infidelity have higher divorce rates. Like they just don't. Infidelity does not go well for women at all. Like, men often are, forgiven, partly because, I think women know that was a physical matter, not an emotional matter, right? But women just don't. And so, but if there's a vision for the marriage, there's restraint. Many folks are broke because there's no vision. Like, no, Linnell, I'm broke because I don't get paid enough. No, you're broke because there's no vision. There's no vision. There's no vision. Somebody right now, if they could get that check, that would be the beginning of everything. And it would be the beginning of everything because they have vision. They have vision. Often, our spiritual life is weak because we lack vision. I can go down the whole thing. All four pillars. Vision enhances all four pillars of your life. And then get this. Vision simplifies life. There's so many decisions I don't have to make. I don't have to make decisions. Because people with vision live narrow lives. People who have vision, I have a narrow life because I'm walking towards a very particular, clear destination. And so I just have to stay on this road. And so when I see detours and forks and exits, I'm like, well, that's not my exit. I don't have to decide, well, do I go right? Well, should I go left? I don't have to decide because my vision dictates that I stay on the path. And so life becomes very simple. When you find yourself in a space where you don't know what to do, you're stressed out. I was at a conference a couple of weeks ago. And the woman who was putting on the conference, big in business, she a lot of business owners. She had an upsell from the stage, and the upsell was basically $40,000 some dollars. It was a good upsell, and so all of us as business owners were sitting there. We have a decision to make. Do I purchase this woman's program and connect with her to scale my business, or not? Simple decision. Simple decision. How do you think I decided? You think I stressed out about that? I just simply went to my vision in my mind. I said, does what this woman is selling, I want you all to listen to this. I didn't think about the cost. Is what this woman is selling, does it align with the vision I have for my life? Very simple question. The answer I got back was yes, it does align. And she's proven herself to sell products that work. She's proven herself. So then I said, well, let me call my wife, because I like to have some level of counsel. Let me call my wife. I'm pretty clear. And all my wife said is, what do you want to do? Do you think that this is the right thing for you and your business? I said, I do. She says, okay. Well, what's stopping you from signing up? This is a good question. I haven't read the agreement. So then I went back to the people that work for us. I said, I need to see the agreement. We can have that to you tonight, Mr. Harris. I read the agreement. I signed up. Very simple. And there was no stress. No stress. No stress because people who have vision, we live simple lives. You know what to do, and you know what not to do. Now, somebody's thinking he'll spend all that money on that, but he won't buy this for me because it doesn't align with my vision. Your product must not align with my vision. And if it does, you'll have a trusted, loyal customer. It's that simple, right? But then there are a lot of things that don't. I was in New York. My wife and I were in New York doing the Met Gala, the big fashion. We bumped into somebody we knew. They said, "Are you here for Fashion Week?" I said, "Nah." I kind of chuckled. "Well, do you want to go?" "Nah." "Why don't you want to go? Everybody's there." It doesn't align with my vision. My vision for this weekend was time with my wife. Nothing's more important than that, right? They kind of looked puzzled, like, you don't want to. What if we could get you into Fashion Week? You wouldn't go? If we could get you into Fashion Week? No, because we had a vision for the weekend. The decision was simple. Vision simplifies your life. Your vision provides you with your choices. And so when you think about discipline, like half the time, the choice is already made. This is why individuals who have discipline this is why individuals who have vision occur as disciplined. Because the choices are clear. I know what to do, and I know what I'm not going to do. The choices are very, very clear. Linnell, there's a party this weekend. You coming? Let me check my vision. I know what to do. I know what not to do. What's the party about? Who's going to be there? And then once I get the answers, it's very clear, yes and no. Yes and no. Most of the time, it's no. Because it just doesn't align with the vision. I want to talk about those of us who are always busy. One of the things that vision does is that it brings intention to your action. And so even if I occur as busy, I'm busy doing things that matter to the vision. Everything I do is like a brick that is being laid for the vision I have for the future. And what's scary is how busy people are who don't have vision. And often people without vision, they get consumed with doing things that are not necessary. They're over here helping them, over there. You guys remember at the beginning of the leadership series, there was a pastor who basically was on Facebook and was like, if you are the leader you say you are, then you will call me and help me with this. And I was like, nah, that has nothing to do with me being the leader that I say I am, because my leadership is narrow, right? It is defined by my vision. It's defined by my vision. The sacrifices that I make are in alignment with my vision, not yours. Some of us, we're doing things, we're taking on sacrifices that aren't even necessary because the sacrifice is for someone else's vision, not ours. Not ours. Say, well, and by the way, somebody could say, well, how do you know that's not for you? Is it because my vision dictates that I take on my priorities first? Then I'll call. Hey, a few months ago, you were on the radio. You asked me to call you. You remember me? Linnell Harris, yes. What you got going on, brother? Now I'm going to listen and I might say no. Right? But my priorities based on my current vision dictate that he goes on the to-do list. I'll call when it falls in line with my priorities. Some of you all, because you don't have vision, other people's priorities become your priorities. And so you feel stressed out and pulled in so many different directions. I hear people say it all the time. I feel pulled in so many different directions. Well, it's because you don't have vision. Because vision dictates your priorities, and vision won't stress you out. It will challenge you. It'll challenge you, but it won't stress you out. Not that kind of stress. Not that kind of stress. And so vision, the beautiful thing about vision is that it lowers the level of action that is necessary. Here's the other thing. For those who do have vision that are pulled all the other places, it's because they're avoiding the action they know they're supposed to take. So if I was avoiding something, maybe I would call the pastor. Hey, what you got over there? So I can feel good about myself. Let me go talk to these young men. Then I can get busy doing what he's doing, and I don't have time to take on the actions that, by the way, I feel resistance to, because you will feel resistance to the actions you're supposed to take in alignment with your vision. That's just a universal law. A clear vision, the one thing that many of us don't have, that costs you nothing, but many of us don't have it, the one thing that vision requires that many of us don't have is silence. Well, Anel, you said it was free. I don't have silence in this house. Okay, that's why I said it might cost you $0.25. Go get some earplugs. The little small foam ones. You can go to any hardware store and say, excuse me, you have the little foam earplugs. It'll cost you $0.25. Then you go back to that loud, busy house. You tell them I'm going into the corner of this room. Don't bother me for an hour. You put those earplugs in and you sit in silence. You sit in silence and watch what begins to happen. Because what I said in the first hour is that vision is inside of you. Now, watch what happens. And by the way, this will be on YouTube and all that. Don't cut this part out, Dave. This will be on YouTube. And someone may be listening to this in the spring. Right? They want to create a vision. And it's possible, but it won't be the type of vision. It won't come with the clarity that you can create right now as we go into the winter. It won't be there. Why? Because something happens in the spring. Like what's inside you is different. I imagine you sit there, you try to close your eyes and meditate on what's inside of you, and the birds will be singing. You know, you hear the wind blowing, like, I just want to go outside. Like, it's hard to go inside when everything outside is alive. Don't procrastinate on this, you all. Don't procrastinate on this one. If you want to start 2024 powerfully, it's a phenomenal time to get silent and go inside and begin to listen to the wisdom that is already inside you. Design what's next for you. And this is the creator. The creator's inside of you. He's just been waiting for you to shut up. He's been waiting for you to turn off everything. Turn off the TV. Turn off the music. Ride in silence and see what happens. All of a sudden, vision will start to hit. Some of y'all turn, that was scary. I'm supposed to do what? Turn that back on. What Michael Jackson say? He was saying he was not the one. Billie Jean is not his son. Oh, man, we get so distracted. When you're silent, all of a sudden, you begin to gain the capacity to distinguish your life's purpose. Vision is the source of all human motivation. Vision is the source of all human motivation. I shared something with, let me find it. I shared something with the Slayer Goals members in our session last week. And what I shared with them was this. External motivation does not last for more than about a minute. Like external, when you get motivated from the outside, there's been research that says that external motivation does not last intrinsically for more than about a minute to a minute and a half. You got 60 to 90 seconds to act. And here's the problem. Like right now, if what I'm saying motivates you, you got 60 to 90 seconds to act. But most of us don't. Most of us get caught in the euphoria of the motivation. We like how it feels. Oh, he's so motivational. It feels good. Right? So even if the brain is saying, well, you should go get a pen and paper and write this down, we just sit in the feeling because we like that feeling. But the problem is that when the show is over, then you're like, well, why don't I ever do what Linnell Harris says? It's because the motivation will only last you 60 to 90 seconds. And what I'm talking about here, see, when you have a vision, and what I'm talking about fuels the vision, intrinsic motivation is the only motivation that will last and fuel action. So when you have a vision and then you're listening, you say, ooh, that's motivational. It fuels the vision. So then after the show, you can act because the vision didn't go away. The vision didn't go, you know how what I said relates to the vision. So then you're like, oh, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do this. And then Monday comes and you're on point. Boom. You're on point because you're acting from your vision and not the motivation you felt. This right here is the hack. This right here is the hack. It's not real sexy, so like people don't talk about it. It's not clickbait. Say, today I'm going to talk about vision. You know, people are probably scrolling and they go, right past it. Right? It's not clickbait. But this is the hack. If we just got that. Your destiny is dictated by your decisions. And destination is where the word destiny comes from. So really, if your destiny is dictated by your decisions, then you better know your destination. Let me say that again, just in case. Like somebody's like sitting there looking up right now. They like, what did you just say? I'm gonna say it again for you. Your destiny dictates your decisions. Right? Like your decisions make your destiny. That's another way to say it. Like how your destiny, like what you're supposed to do, your potential dictates how you're supposed to decide. And destination is where the word destiny comes from. So when I know my destination, my decisions are already made for me. It's easier to say no when you have a vision. Some of us, we're so caught up in what's like we're so busy because we don't know how to say no. And the reason we don't know how to say no is because we don't have a vision to say yes to. When you know what to do, you know what not to do. Hey, Linnell, can you come up? No. When you know what to do, you know what not to do. Many of us are doing too many things because we lost sight of the vision. We lost focus of the vision, or we just don't have a vision. Let me tell you this. Most successful people are not doing as much as you think they're doing. Most successful people, let me say it again, aren't doing as much as you think they're doing. Think of successful folks you know. They're not doing as much as you think they're doing. Oh, he must be so busy. I'm sure he's busy, but he ain't doing as much as you think he's doing, right? I'm not doing as much as you think I'm doing. My actions are dictated by my vision. It's that simple. Part of what I have to do is wrestle with my son, right? Like that, the vision I have for his life is like requires that I wrestle with him. That's one of my activities. That's one of the things I must do. Oh, it seems so hard, Linnell. Like we have fun. We have fun, right? It's my vision requires that I do things that are fun. Ultimately, vision comes from the Creator. It requires connection with the Creator. This is where, talking about vision gets difficult, because if you're not connected to the Creator, then vision might seem difficult. Because your vision comes from the inside, the Creator is inside of you, and then there's a connection between you and the Creator. Just because the Creator is inside you don't mean you're connected. Don't mean you connected. Some of us need, I do open heart to connect something or disconnect something to clean something out. Some of us need surgery. We need spiritual surgery so we can get connected. Spiritual surgery requires that you sit down somewhere. Whenever you go into surgery, there's always prep, and then you go into surgery. Surgery requires that you're in one spot for a little while, that you're silent. Some of us just need to get in one spot and get silent so we can have spiritual surgery to get the Creator reconnected to us. Because then all of a sudden it's like, there's a song, I can see clearly now. It's like, you'll be like, this is what I've been missing. That's why there's so much noise, to keep you, to ensure that you keep missing it. So be silent, distinguish your life's purpose, and accept and declare your life's vision. A prerequisite for vision is identity. This is why I keep going back to, this whole spiritual surgery thing. Some of us, we need spiritual surgery just so that we can rediscover our identity. We don't know who we are. And now we live in a world where you get to be whatever you want to be. Has nothing to do with the Creator's vision for your life. You wake up, today I'm going to be a cat. And then I'm going to force everyone to call me cat. And then I'm bogus if I don't. Linnell, you're not, they got all kinds of labels for that, right? I can just go down the labels. If Vade walks in the studio one day and says, Linnell, I want you to identify with me as a dog. I bark now. If I fired him, they'd be like, man, you, why did you fire him? They could take me to court. Now, you could chuckle about this, but there's so much confusion around identity. And because there's so much confusion around identity, many people lack vision. And a prerequisite for vision is clear identity. You have to know who you are, not who you want to be. That's different. I wanted to be an NBA star, right? That's what I wanted. Not who you want to be, but who you are. Who you are, who you were created to be. And when you know who you be, you have a better understanding of what you must do. let me be clear too, because somebody walk away and say, "Oh man, I can't believe he just said all that." I love everybody. I love everybody, and if our day came in and wanted me to relate to him as a dog, I would say, "Man, well, I don't bark, so I don't know what to do, but I do love you." Okay, I do love you. I'm gonna be praying for you, right? But I don't know what to do now. All right. You have to be to do. One of the reasons why action is so difficult for some people is because they don't even know who they be. So then how am I going to do what I'm supposed to do when I don't know who I'm supposed to be? And the beautiful thing about this is vision allows you to realize your value. I believe one of the number one fundamental reasons why human beings deal with insecurity is because they don't have a vision for their life. How can I be insecure about who I be when I know what I'm supposed to do? I'm the only person that has this vision. No one else has this vision because my vision came from inside me. My pastor didn't give it to me. My priest didn't give it to me. They can't. They cannot. Like, I didn't make a mistake. They can't give you your vision. Any good leader, if there's something that they believe should be done in the organization, whether it's a church, whether it's a corporate entity, any good leader is going to enroll you in it. They're not going to tell you. They're going to say, "Hey, Ade, here's what I've been thinking. Is this something that you would like to do?" I remember years ago, one of my CEOs came to me, and it was a huge shift. And I was running global operations, and they wanted me to run diversity. I've told the story before. They came, and it was a request. She didn't tell me. It was a request. "This is something I would like for you to do." I was offended at first. It's because I'm the only black executive. How dare you? How? I was so offended. Ego, right? I was so offended. And then when I got connected to my purpose, it was so clear. Linnell, based on who you be, based on your identity, that is what you're supposed to do. It was so clear. It wasn't even a stressful decision after that. I went back. I was like, "Hey, I know I kind of had a negative reaction to that. But after some consideration and some thought, that's what I'm supposed to do. And here's why. Then I was enrolling her in why it was the role I was supposed to have. It was so clear. And I never second guessed it. And I did it despite what others said, because my mentors at the time said it's a dead end job. Don't take it. But my vision said take it. Vision allows you to realize your value. Let me be clear. You all get this. When I took the job, I left the job where I had a $300 million budget. And I moved to a $1.7 million budget. Most people would not do that in a career. And if they did, they start feeling insecure. But it wasn't the budgets that defined me. It's the vision. It's the vision. And because the vision defined me, I felt secure. Some people will come and, "I can't believe you did this, man. I can't, wow. Did you just do it to be an officer?" No, I did it because it aligned with the vision, which is why I was able to walk away from being an officer later. Because the vision said, "Now it's time to go." I said, "Well, I guess we're leaving." The clearer the vision, the higher the self-perceived value. I'm not talking about arrogance and conceit. I'm talking about position. Position. I'm very clear on my vision and what I'm supposed to do. So when I'm doing what it is that I do, I come with authority. This is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to do. I come with a different level of authority because I'm secure in my position. Vision aligns you with what you should master. Vision leads to mastery. And when you have the vision shows you what you could be. I opened the show with being 22, taking the L's I took, living in my parents' basement. And when I began to work with my mentor, first part, we distinguished the purpose. And then based on the purpose, who should you be? And I could see something I wasn't. I'm like, I could be this guy. I could be somebody that inspires millions. I could be this over there. And then the first piece was, well, what is the first step I need to take to get there? Well, I probably need to go buy some books. So I went and bought some books. I began to read. I probably should get a better job. So I started looking for a better job. I probably need to get a car so I can move around. Like all of a sudden, you would say, well, these things seem obvious, Linnell. But it's not obvious when you don't have a vision. But I saw who I could be, and based on who I saw, that guy has a car. Like that guy owns a car. Like he's able to get around. And so I guess I need to start saving for a vehicle because that guy that's inspiring millions of people, he drives a car. And I can't get the car he's going to drive, but I can at least get a car right now. I can get a car I can drive right now. Every true vision, and we have to distinguish the two. We have to distinguish the two. Because you will get false visions. You know why I wanted to be an NBA star? Because that's what I saw. That vision came from the television. I saw NBA players, I played basketball, and so that's what I aspired to. That was a false vision. And guess what? The challenges of life tested that vision to be false. It wasn't authentic. A true vision will be tested for authenticity. The challenges of life very quickly revealed to me that being an NBA star was not the true vision. It's like, well, there's a big old gap, like a chasm there's no ladders, no nothing. Like, where I am now, NBA star, not happening. And here's the thing, if you're aligned with something right now where you see that chasm, like sometimes people leap and they fall all the way in the chasm. And the way to dig yourself out, is to get connected to the true vision that you're supposed to have. And once you have a vision that's been tested for authenticity, you invite challenges. Like my vision has been tested for authenticity at this point in my life. So when challenges show up, I'm not like, oh no. I'm like, okay, well, I've been through some things. I'll be fine. I've already had to deal with the challenges. I shared it. The challenge I had to inspire millions, one of the tests was my ability to speak. I couldn't talk. I get nervous. When I'm in corporate America training, I tell the story of my confidence being shaken. I didn't have confidence. Those were the challenges that I had to face to become who it is that I was supposed to be. Here's the other thing about vision. If somebody said, well, Linnell, you could be an NBA star, but you'll have to die early, I probably say, I'm good. I'm good on that. No, thank you. But if somebody said, Linnell, if you continue to live out your vision, you're going to have to die, I say, well, that's what it's going to be then. Because a true vision is something you would die for. A true vision is something you would die for. Linnell, they said you had to stop teaching. This became a communist state and you had to stop teaching people this stuff. Would you stop? No. Would it be on the radio? Probably not. Will we gather in the basement of my home like so many do when they're hiding? Like, come on. Hey, if you bring somebody, make sure they're vetted. Linnell, you could die for this. That's okay. The people need to know it. Would you die for your vision? Or are you at least living for something that you would die for? Because here's the thing, part of the reason why you stop, part of the reason why you pause, part of the reason why you have so many false starts is because you're not doing something that you would die for. So of course, little simple resistance can come in and take you out. But when it becomes something that you're willing to die for, that vision holds. That vision will stand the test of time and the challenges that come with it. See, vision chooses your future for you. Vision has chose my friends. I had some friends that didn't fit in the vision. And here's the thing, I didn't even have to be like, we ain't friends no more. They self-selected out based on my vision. They began to do things that didn't align, or they self-selected out. They just kind of like, man, Linnell don't go out on Fridays no more. We're just going to stop calling. What would you call him for? You always say no. It just created a chasm and a gap. And then it created the space for new friends to come in who actually support the vision. Your vision will choose the books that you read. Like even when I read fiction, I want to read something that motivates me towards where I'm going. It chooses the books I read. So I'm not reading romantic novels because my vision is not, outside of my wife is like, is this a guy that was married that, made his wife love him deeply, more deeply than any other woman in the world? Because I'll read that story, but it ain't nobody wrote it yet. So your vision dictates how you use your time. My vision dictates the movies that I watch. I was on the plane. I was like, what would inspire me? I was on the plane. I had a little time. The food was coming. I said, well, okay, I'm going to put my tray down, which means I can't work. So what am I going to watch? Then I saw a movie about BlackBerry, the rise and fall of BlackBerry. I said, oh, a business movie. I'll watch that. It was good, too. It was good. Why did I watch it? I want to know what not to do, right? Your vision helps you choose your priorities. I talked about this earlier, right? The brother said, call me right away if you're a real leader. He's like, no, that goes lower on the list. And I'm not insecure. And so you testing my leadership doesn't really matter to me because my identity and my vision have me securely placed in where I am. So you can think what you want. I'm going to stay on the path, the narrow path of my vision. You are not a priority. You go here, with all due respect. Your vision will dictate your hobbies. The things that I enjoy doing, the things I enjoy learning about, align with my vision. And you figure out, I enjoy gorilla trekking. And then it hit me, this is a way for leaders to have a next level breakthrough in fear. So now my hobby is a business? Now I'm taking leaders gorilla trekking? This is the beauty of vision. Because it's like, well, if you like to do this, maybe you should get paid to do it versus, because, gorilla trekking is expensive. Maybe you should just have other people pay for it. I like that. Well, that sounds good. I could gorilla trek every year then. I can go back and visit Nikundo. If you don't know who Nikundo is, you got to go to my Instagram story. It's a gorilla friend of mine. Made friends with him last year. We're good friends. But That's the power of vision. Vision will dictate the games you play. Vision will dictate the vacations you take. A few weeks ago, my wife and I were with a few others in another country, and we chose that country because of the real estate opportunities. So I can't say that it was a vacation because it was a business expense, because it was business. If you get what I mean, I don't want to get audited. They say, well, you said on November 19th that it was a vacation. No, that was business, agent, sir. But your vacations are dictated by your vision. We have a vision, and so this is where we're going to go because of the vision. This morning, I took a shower. I turned on the water. I just got in the shower. It was cold. That's not pleasant. Nothing pleasant about cold. I just can't get used to it. I was talking to a client of mine who takes the cold. We got the waterfall. I just turn it on. It's cold, and it comes down, man. It's like, whoo, whoo. I got to wash up in this. It's a fast shower. It's like, you hit, whoo. Now, I warm it up to clean my body real good, but the first part is, and I got to do that for 5 minutes. Get the timer running. I'm looking at it. Linnell, why would you experience that level of discomfort? The vision I have for my life. I want to be moving at a high level. My exercises are based on the vision for my life. I intend to be climbing mountains for the next few decades. And I don't intend to be climbing mountains alone. I intend to be taking leaders with me. Like when we go gorilla trekking, we have to go into the mountains. So my exercises are how I exercise my body is connected to, my exercises are chosen by the vision. I guess I got to do squats Monday. Like I didn't choose it, the vision chose it. My diet, chosen by my vision. Are you all, but Linnell, your diet is so disciplined. But we already talked about how discipline, the key to discipline is vision. My diet is disciplined because of my vision. I can see the future. I can see who I intend to be. I can see that when I tell people that I'm 65 and I'm doing an activity, they go, what? I see it. So when it happens, it won't surprise me. I'll go, yeah, God is good. God is good. My vision dictates my investments. I bought my first house, my first single family home last year. Not because I couldn't afford it, because I had a vision. I promised my wife I'll put you in the house of your dreams if you just can align with the vision. If you can align with the vision of financial security and stability, I'll put you in the house of your dreams. And she believed in the vision. I believe she married me because she believed in the vision. But my investments are even dictated by the vision. My attitude is dictated by my vision. A few weeks ago, I sat down at a table where another woman was sitting. She had her doctorate. And I guess it's in leadership or something. Anyway, we began to have a conversation. This lady was so offensive, so presumptuous. It was, man, I'm Dr. So-and-so. What do you do? I told her, my firm does executive coaching, leadership development, and process consulting. Oh, you do leadership development? Then you need this. And she took a book out. Oh. I said, okay. I slid the book towards me. She said, oh, no. $20. What? What? Because my vision dictates what I read. I don't know you. I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm a lead. You need this book if you're doing leadership development. I just kept a sweet attitude. I looked at her. I don't know when I'm running to this lady again. But lady, I'm not buying your book. I slid it back. I said, no, I'm not. It's all good. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to give it to you if you promise to read it. I said, I tell you what, I'll promise you I'll read the first chapter. And if I'm compelled to continue reading, I'll read. If I'm not, I won't. How's that? Excellent. She was, because she just knew I would read it. So that evening, I went to my hotel room. I was at a conference. I went into the room, and I kept my promise. I began to read the first chapter. And I had to pray, Lord, help me get through these chapters. How many pages is in this first chapter? Lord, help me read. Lord, help me keep this promise to this woman. Because when this first chapter is over, I'm putting down this book. I got to the end of the first chapter. I put it down. I said, woo! She wrote a dissertation? Then I saw her later. I kept the same attitude. I ain't going to be, it is what it is. Vision dictates my attitude. Get this one. Vision dictates your lifestyle. I said last night we had a gathering at the house. I'm not hungover today. As a matter of fact, I think a couple of people had drinks. But overwhelmingly, most people didn't drink. And then my niece, who's older, said, oh my God, we didn't drink. We didn't even drink anything. We had so much fun and we didn't even drink. And because vision dictates the lifestyle. We had a good time without having to have all the drugs. Vision will dictate your values, the things that are important to you, how you show up. And vision will dictate your goals. Ultimately, vision should dictate your goals. So your goals, members, write that down. Vision will dictate the goals, not the other way around. The goal shouldn't dictate the vision. The vision should dictate the goals. Every goal that I have comes from my vision. The goal for my health and well-being, the goal for my relationship, the goal for working money, the goal from purpose and spirituality, it comes from my vision. Hey, my inspired peoples. Linnell Harris here, certified ontological coach and trainer. I'm so excited that you're watching the channel. By the way, did you know you can catch the show live at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday morning? You can. All you have to do is go to my Facebook stream, Coach Linnell Harris, catch the stream live, or you can listen to the radio show via iHeart at WVON 1690 AM. But since you're here, if you love the content, I ask that you share it, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're having a great day.